What's up, y'all? I'm Will here with Schedulefly, and this is the Restaurant Owners Uncorked podcast, one of the highest rated hospitality podcasts in the world, brought to you by us at Schedulefly. We provide a very simple web-based restaurant employee scheduling software backed by legendary customer service. If you're on pencil and paper or Excel, or you're on some software with tons of bells and whistles and features you don't need or use, Schedulefly is the perfect place for you. Easy to use, point, click, and go, and we'll take great care of you. Schedulefly.com, free trial, check it out. Also, this podcast is brought to you by our sponsors, Pop Menu and The Giving Kitchen and Kickfin, and you're going to hear about them in just a minute. First of all, let's talk about today's guest. Hey, what's up, y'all? This is a fun episode with Bindya Patel, and Bindya owns 4 Nothing Bundt Cakes locations down in and around Houston. Longtime Schedulefly customer, just a great lady who's always been so kind and so nice and so fun to serve. And, Nothing Bundt Cakes they've got 500 locations now. They're growing. She's been at it she was I think she said the 52nd or 51st location was her first one. Back in 2012, they opened their doors, and she has 4 now and continuing to grow. If you have not been to a Nothing Bundt Cakes or you don't have one in your market, you'll hope one comes. We have one in Charlotte. We talked about this on the episode. It's a great cake. It's a great experience. Everything about what they do is done with a lot of passion and a lot of heart and a lot of hard work. It's very labor intensive, but they produce an incredible product, and they take great care of their customers. And we were so thrilled to have Bindya come on and share her story today. Really cool story of a lady who had spent the first part of her career in software, was at HP for a long time, and then made a change in life, and now owns 4 and growing Nothing Bundt Cakes for the last 13 years now. So thank you all for listening. More episodes coming soon. Give us a rating, a comment. We love those. We appreciate you. Stay tuned. Give your team the gift of Pop Menu AI Answering, a simple solution for phones ringing off the hook. AI Answering handles calls 24/7, 365 days a year, so your staff can focus on in-person guests. Customize your greetings and responses, answer common questions, promote specials and events, and send follow-up links to ordering and reservations. AI Answering handles it all while escalating more complex conversations back to your team. Never miss another tasty revenue opportunity. Pop Menu, the marketing technology platform designed to make growing your restaurant easy. Discover more AI restaurant tools that turn your to-do list into an already done list by requesting a demo today. For a limited time, get $100 off your first month, plus lock in one unchanging monthly rate at popmenu.com. Go now to get $100 off your first month at popmenu.com. Be sure to tell them that Will from Restaurant Owners Uncorked podcast and Schedulefly sent you. Y'all, this is a great business. I just told you what they like me to say. I will say that we have a lot of mutual customers at Schedulefly with Pop Menu. They all agree. Great product, great customer service, great results. Check them out, popmenu.com. This episode is also brought to you by The Giving Kitchen. Giving Kitchen provides emergency assistance for food service workers through financial support and a network of community resources. Since its inception in 2013, Giving Kitchen has served over 15,000 food service workers and awarded over $10.5 million to food service workers in crisis. If you or someone you know is a food service worker in crisis, please ask for help. thegivingkitchen.org, and again, that's thegivingkitchen.org. Y'all, this is a phenomenal organization. Jen, the founder, has been on this podcast. Jen Heidinger Kendrick, check out that episode to hear their full story. But if you know somebody or you need help, go to thegivingkitchen.org. Incredible organization, and very responsive, and has a wonderful mission. Check them out. We are officially recording. We are live. I am so excited to talk to you today. Bindya, will you please introduce yourself?
Sure. I'm Bindya Patel, and I am in the Houston area, and I'm owner of 4 locations for Nothing Bundt Cakes.
All right. I gotta tell you, before we get into all this, my family is a big Nothing Bundt Cakes fan as a family. Because we like that you can go and get these like individual size cakes for everybody, and it particularly comes in handy because my wife is she can't have gluten, and you've got a gluten-free one, and and there's one not far from our house. So we're like, that's basically every family. Other than my birthday, they always make me banana pudding because I like banana pudding. But other than that, every other birthday we have, it's like a Nothing But Cakes affair every time. Y'all have an awesome, simple product, great tasting, just very well done, happy people, easy to do business with.
It warms my heart to hear that. Well, we put so much effort into baking these cakes. Our everything is baked, frosted, and handcrafted at our bakery. Everything is
Yeah.
made from scratch. So there is no ready-made product that we just pipe frosting on top of it. So it really warms our heart to hear fans like yourself who love our product.
Bindya, so you've already mentioned warming your heart, which tells me you've got a hospitality gene. I've been doing this long enough. I've done enough conversations. We've done over 500 episodes, and that tells me, just using that language alone tells me that you are somebody who wants to you focus on others, you try to make an experience memorable and rewarding for people, and that gives you joy. So that's very clear. That's all you needed to say. That tells me a lot. I want to know how you got into this world of hospitality. Like, what's your story? What was your background, and how did you get dialed in with Nothing Bundt Cakes?
So I am a software engineer by education, and I started my career around 1987. We lived in Ohio, started working for computer companies, and eventually moved to the Houston area. And I worked for a mid-sized company. I've worked for a startup company, and I have worked for a very large company, which is HP Hewlett Packard. And over a
Okay.
period of time, my career grew. I was vice president for a number of years. Within 5 years of my career, I moved into management, and I enjoyed that. But in late 90s, I decided to leave the job and focus on my family. My parents lived in India. My mom had passed, and my dad was not doing well. And I felt like if I didn't take this time to be with him, I would not have that time. So for the next 4 or 5 years, I went back and forth between India and US, doing some consulting over here and continuing to support my family in India. Once he passed, I was back here and I was thinking about what I wanted to do. And this opportunity was brought up to me. And I just laughed it off initially, thinking, I've never done anything like this. I don't know if I can do this. But then I had the opportunity to speak with Nothing But Cakes. They have a 6-week process where you learn more about them and they learn more about you. And I was completely sold. And we have a full day interview with, at that point, we had the actual founders of Nothing But Cakes, Debbie Schwartz and Dina Tripp. And so I met with them, and I just, it's hard to stand behind somebody else's product. But
Yeah.
once I met them and I could see what inspired them, I was sold on it. So that's a short history of my career.
What an interesting turn of events. So when I talked to Todd Gallinek and I told him that I was going to be, speaking to you, it's like, dude, she is brilliant. Like, she had this background. She was, he was to kind of tell me a little bit. That's why I wanted to ask about your background. Uh, so, I mean, this is so interesting to me because you're using sort of one side of your brain, if you will, to write software and develop software and what you were doing, in your previous career, and you're using sort of maybe a different. I mean, I know it all overlaps, and you're probably really good at um, operations and execution and everything. But clearly, I'm hearing a lot of these very emotional terms of warming your heart and getting behind somebody else's, falling in love with somebody else's product. How did you? Like, why didn't you just go back into what you were doing when you, how did you first get connected with Nothing Bundt Cakes?
So, um, actually, my brother in Alabama, they were in the process of opening a Nothing But Cakes. And one day I was speaking with him, and he said, "Oh, there's one opening in Houston area as well. You should go down there and try it." And it just so happened my husband and I were down there, and we picked up a couple of buntlets, which is what you identified the individual ones, and we brought them home, and we could not believe how good they were buying it from a store. The freshness of the product, the moistness of the product. Of course, we love chocolate, and it was just a wonderful product to try and just feel that sweetness. And we were like, okay, this is the kind of product that you would be able to stand behind, and what a novelty we have to introduce this to the market over here. So
Okay.
that was the initial way I got introduced to it.
And when was this? When did you open your first
So
location?
2011 is when I got engaged in the process, and then
Okay.
2012 was the first location that I opened in Houston.
Okay. I got you. And you've got 4 now, right?
Yes, correct.
Okay. And you've been, yeah, okay. Now, when you got started, how many locations were there then, roughly, and how many are there now?
So the location that I opened, which is the Woodlands location, the number of that location is 51. And
Okay.
there were less than 51 open at that time because it's just the way the process works. And today
Right.
we are over 500 locations that have already opened.
What's the geographic footprint look like? Is it every state, or is it sort of like coming out from like concentric circles out of?
So mostly our presence, so the Nothing But Cake started in Las Vegas. And
Okay. Oh, I didn't realize that. Okay.
yeah, and it initially grew more in California. And it had more presence in the South, a lot of presence in Texas, Louisiana, Florida. And so there were a lot of states in the North where we did not have presence, but that changed a few years back. And we now have presence throughout the country, a lot of presence being added on the East Coast and a lot of states in the North. And then we
Okay.
also have a few locations in the Toronto area.
Oh, so you've moved into Canada as well. Okay.
Yes.
Um, Now the folks that started it, are they still involved?
They are no longer involved. Both Debbie and Dina have retired from Nothing But Cakes. However, their children are involved. They have locations, their own locations. So there is still presence, and they are very humble people. They have continued to participate in conversations when needed with our management team. So off and on, our management team engages with them to understand history, and they continue to support that.
Is it owned by private equity now, or is it still
Yes,
family held?
we are owned by Rourke Investment Company right now. So
Oh, Rourke.
yeah.
Yeah. Down in Atlanta.
Mhm.
I think they're the largest quote restaurant owner in the country, right? Because of
They
all
are.
they own a ton of brands.
They have tremendous presence in the restaurant space, and they have the power of negotiation. So there are a lot of engagements that we are having with suppliers, so etc. That helps right now because Rourke has that power. Yes.
Mm, yeah. Well, we'll negotiate with them.
Yes.
Put us in all the different brands. Okay, so you had your first location,
Yes.
2012. You opened the doors 2012. Is that what I heard?
That is correct. August 2012.
Okay, and tell me about that. You've now made this major transition, and you've bought into this concept, and you're really dialed in. Were there surprises to you as when you got open? Were there things that you had not expected that, either, I don't know, maybe positive or negative that kind of came along with that, or a learning curve that you had not accounted for?
Sure. So Nothing But Cakes has this process of 4 weeks of training. So I had hired a manager, and my manager and myself, we went to Las Vegas for 4 weeks of training. I felt very confident coming back. We started our Nothing But Cakes over here. And this is what caught me by surprise. So we had hired all our staff. We had been going through training ahead of opening. And the restaurant industry is such that there is the staff that you work with in that industry is a bit of transient staff. So we started experiencing people, their school schedules or other such things, people unable to come in. So I had worked with corporate staff my entire life. So when I experienced this transientness of the staff that you deal with in the restaurant industry, that caught me completely by surprise.
Uh, and it's not something you can really change. It's something you have to learn to adjust to and adapt to in a lot of ways. I'm sure you can maybe learn to get better and better at finding good, reliable people, but that's just been a challenge with this industry kind of, forever and probably always will be. Have you found ways to, through the interview process to identify people that are probably going to be a little bit more stable or a little bit more reliable?
We overstaff just a tiny bit to help us through coverage. I also have empathy for my staff. A lot of these people have topics with transportation. Houston is not known very well for its public transportation. So there are a lot of topics that these people have. So it actually changed my perspective. Initially, I was a little upset saying these people are just not very good at being reliable. But over a period of time, as you learn more of the topics of what they have to go through, you become more empathetic to their situation, and you understand that better. So we added a lot of flexibility. We now have people who can work full time. We have people who can work 3 or 4 days. We have people who can work only the afternoon shifts. We are now open on Sundays, so we have people who can work only Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So we added a lot more flexibility as we learned more about how the people's availability, and that has helped us a lot. Yes.
So tell me about going from you had one, and then when did you open your second location?
So we opened the second one in 2014.
Couple years later. Okay. Now, when you signed, did you sign like a long-term agreement to open X number of locations in a certain amount of time, or?
Yes, when I signed up, I targeted 3 locations within the next 3 years.
Okay, so you did like 12, 14,
And 15.
15, 15, and
Mhm.
then okay. Got it. Um, that had to be a bit of a learning curve too, going from just the one to the second and now the third, and kind of you had to have brought in some, I would imagine, some really good people to help you delegate management and just making sure all these things are running well every given day.
For sure. It was a tremendous learning curve. And you're absolutely correct. I cannot do this. It is really my staff. We have bakery managers. We have multi-bakery managers. We internally grow a lot of our staff to be certified trainers. We have shift leaders. And so we empower our staff constantly to allow them to grow internally and also to help us because managing this bakery is very tedious. It's our product is very labor intensive, so it takes a lot to get it right, and we grow our people all the time. We give them opportunity to grow all the time.
Well, and now you have 4, and I'm assuming do you plan to continue to grow?
Yes, that continues to remain the plan.
Well, that's awesome, Bindya, because then look, good people wanna grow, right? They wanna have opportunities to grow, and if you're growing your business, then you're able to give more and more opportunities to people that then keeps them on your team, keeps them excited, keeps them challenged, and the consistency of that just winds up making a better product and experience for the customer when you have that kind of consistency and people that are challenged and part of the wonderful things about that growth is that you get to say, look, now you get to step up.
That is right. I think a lot of people are looking at once they master the craft of what they were hired, they are looking for different opportunities, more opportunities. We have a few people who are very happy. We have a froster that has been with us for over 9 years. She frosts our cakes. She does a phenomenal job. She loves being in that position. But a lot of other people are looking to do more and different. And luckily, we do have that opportunity to give to them.
All right, y'all, it is time for a little mid-episode break. We're going to talk about Kickfin. Thousands of restaurants, bars, and breweries use Kickfin to tip out their employees instantly. No cash required. With Kickfin, tips go directly to your employees' bank of choice the second their shift ends. It's a really simple solution to a really big problem because if you're still paying out credit card tips in cash, it's costing you. Time-consuming bank runs and cash counting take managers away from work that matters. Cash is hard to track, which leads to accounting headaches, and it creates the perfect opportunity for theft, human error, and compliance issues. Bottom line, there's never been an instant secure way to pay out tips until Kickfin. It's an easy-to-use software that sends real-time, cashless tip payouts straight to your employees' bank accounts, 24/7, 365. Kickfin gives managers hours back in their day, makes reporting a breeze, and protects your business from risk. Most importantly, employees love it. Restaurants can have Kickfin up and running overnight. Employees can enroll in seconds. No hardware, no contracts, no setup fees. Visit kickfin.com for a personalized demo. See how restaurants across the country are digitizing tips with Kickfin. All right, that's what they asked me to say, so I say it, and it tells the story very well, but I like to add this in. We referred a customer that we know and love very well, Sup Dogs, to Kickfin. Sup Dogs has been a customer for a super long time. Trust them very much with their opinion on these types of tools. They started using Kickfin. I asked Brett, the owner, recently how it's going. He said, Kickfin is perfect. It's going great. Exactly what we were hoping for. So there you go. Kickfin.com, y'all. Check them out. I wonder if, my kids are 20, 17, and 14. And between them and their friends, I think that this generation now that's coming through, I'm really interested to see how this plays out, but I feel like a lot of them are very hesitant to get into corporate America. I feel like a lot of them are saying, I don't know about all that, and then more of them are winding up doing things like, working at nothing Bundt Cakes, or maybe even, working at one and then opening their own one day or whatever. It just seems there's less sort of when I was coming up, it was more like you got to go to college, work hard, get this great job. I mean, and work in corporate America, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But I'm just seeing less and less of that now, and I'm seeing more and more people that are like, "I don't need." Your comment about the froster made me think of this. Like, I think there's a lot of people who are like, I'm okay. Like, as long as I make enough to pay my bills and I'm happy in my life and I have some good balance and I'm not, working 100 hours a week and stressed and exhausted and tired and mentally and physically drained, like that's not really what I want. Like I see a lot of my people that are my parents or their friends, that's not really what I'm looking for. Are you see I mean, am I onto something, do you think? Like do you hear some of the young folks working for you thinking more like that?
I think you hit on the right word, balance. I think you are
Yes.
absolutely correct. Compared to at least my generation, I think the younger people are looking more for balance. They are willing to work very hard, but
Yeah.
they also want their time off. So when they are
Yeah.
off, when they want to go on vacation, they want that time off. I do believe that even in corporate America, there are select companies that recognize that, and
Yeah.
they are starting to offer that flexibility to people. There is definitely, while we hear that a lot of people are required to go back into offices to work, I'm also hearing some companies are allowing people to work from home. And then
Yep.
they are also extending the amount of time off that these people can take. But you are correct. I think the people that we work with, we are always asking people, do you want to pick up more shifts? Some people are not ready to pick up more shifts. So I think people want their time off. People have other commitments. They are taking care of a family member. They have their own children. So there are other commitments that do require people to have that time off.
Well, it's good that you are wise enough to you understand that and you embrace that because there's a lot of people our age, Bindya, that are like, hey, like I work, you got to, it's a different mindset. Uh, this generation, the younger generation, often gets a bad rap. Oh, they don't want to work. I think they are awesome and they're smart and when they enjoy something, they work really hard at it. But I also think I give them a lot of credit for being wise enough not to be like, well, I'll just, you know, bust it like crazy for somebody else and be a cog in the machine for, you know, 30 years so I can retire. Like a lot of people are just like, no, that's not what I want. And I don't care if I'm willing, I'm willing to make sacrifices or whatever. But the good thing is, if you really are not myopic and you think about the long play here, is it pays to find ways to enable them to have that balance because then they're happy, they're getting what they want. When they're there, they're working hard for you. And then you don't have people that are burned out and quitting because they're having to work too hard. And if you can reduce turnover and keep a happy team and give them the opportunity to do something they enjoy, but also have a life, then doesn't that mean that you've got more consistency with your workforce, which ultimately that all benefits the customer in
Sure.
so many ways.
Yep.
Um, so your, by the way, you mentioned it was your cousin in Alabama, that was buying one. So is that, this is amazing timing because you were telling me about Deepin, and I'm actually going to meet with Deepin at Super Chicks here in Charlotte at 4 o'clock today. And so that connection came through you. So thank you for that. We're going to, I talked to Todd after I spoke with you, and I'm going to meet with Deepin, and I'm looking forward to catching up with him.
So it's actually Deepin's dad, who is my brother in Alabama. And,
Okay. That's
and
okay.
he
Got it.
introduced me to Nothing But Cakes. Yes.
Okay, I got it. I got it. Okay, so then tell me. Okay, so what is um, Nothing Bundt Cakes? You've got if you're there's a lot of people nowadays. Number one, there's a lot of people that are looking to invest into franchise concepts. Nothing Bundt Cakes is a very well known brand. I'm guessing that the upfront investment is I'm sure it's significant, but it's not like some big full service type brand where you've got like 100 employees and all this kind of stuff. So it's probably a reasonable upfront investment. You have a product that is excellent. You have a unique value proposition, I would imagine. Like, I mean, am I hitting on some of the selling points? I'm just thinking through, like, if somebody's looking, if they come to you and they say, "Hey, I'm thinking about opening Nothing Bundt Cakes. I'm also thinking about some other brands." Like, what are the main things you would tell somebody that's interested in considering being a franchisee at Nothing Bundt Cakes?
I think you hit on several points, but this is the way I explain to, even when I'm interviewing management candidates, I said, there are two things that we have to do excellent. First and foremost, we bake our product, we frost our product, we handcraft our product, we package our product. Everything is done in-house. It has to be the best product. And second is we have to provide excellent service. That's your second differentiator in the market, is our service has to be, people have to be bowled over. So to give you an example, we use a company called SMG, through which our guests survey us on how they felt the service and the product was. And our company average is over 92%. So, and even SMG says that we are out of the park on it because restaurants normally don't have such a high average. So that is the other thing, is we really need to provide that service to differentiate ourselves. And as far as you mentioned in terms of a new owner considering this as a franchise, I believe it's a great franchise. It's still a medium-sized franchise, I would say. There is a lot of owner support structure that is in place. If a Nothing Bundt Cake owner calls me, I will do whatever I can to help that owner if they are in some kind of a pickle. And also the fact that we are a pickup location. So we do pickup and deliveries, but we don't have tables or anything in-house where people can sit and have a cake. So it's easier in that aspect of managing the restaurant. We are
Yeah.
not a full service restaurant, we are a pickup location.
Do you do you do your own deliveries, or is that done through third party?
We actually use a professional company called Drop Off that does our deliveries, and that is our what is called 2PD, but we are also into 3PD. So we have now started working with Uber Eats and DoorDash and um, Grubhub that also come and pick up our product. So
Drop off, is that do you use them? Are you talking about you use them in Houston, or is that done throughout the
they
no?
have more presence through the country, not all in every state, but they have presence in some large cities, and they are based out of Austin, but
Okay.
we use them in Houston.
Do you I always wonder if I were in your shoes, I feel like I'd be anxious sometimes with the when a product leaves my establishment and goes into the hands of a Uber, DoorDash driver,
Mhm.
Grubhub driver, because now I don't own that interaction anymore. The product, I've made a great product, but now my interaction with the customer is through that brand and that company, which I have no control over the type of people that are doing that and whether they're in a, going to take like smile for the customer and maybe that doesn't matter, but I'm wondering, like, I always wonder about that. I feel like if I were handing over something to some other company, I'd be anxious.
You are correct. So to be successful in that space, you have to develop relationship with those partners. So Drop Off, we have developed relationship. We've been working with them for 9+ years. Um,
Yeah.
in their they train their staff that we are a cake company, that our packaging has to be very special. So the
Mm-hmm.
cake is not damaged in any sense at all. It should look exactly like how it left our bakery. So we review the product with the driver before we close our boxes and seal them and put them in bags, handle bags. So they are transferred in a seamless manner to the guest.
Yeah.
And all of that information is clipped or stapled to the bags. So Nothing But Cakes has come a long way in improving on packaging. So both
Mm-hmm.
for our guests who are picking up, but also for these delivery companies. And
Yeah.
um,
Okay.
and we also work. We have special packaging for our 3PD deliveries, which are the Uber Eats, DoorDash, Grubhub. So we put them in a certain type of bags. The bags are very tight and snug with the package, and so as long as they are not swinging the bags and doing anything else with it, and we will replace the product. We will complain to those companies if they don't do it correctly. So we have significantly improved from the very initial phase of when we started doing deliveries. And deliveries still is a very small percent of our business. It's
Okay.
I would say it's 7-8% of our business,
Okay.
less than
Okay.
10. Um,
Yeah.
and the thing is, Will, scientists say that food creates memories, and so we still want our guests, when they open our package and they see the Nothing But Cakes logo on it, and they put a fork in the cake and put it in the mouth, that memory that is created hopefully connects them to Nothing But Cakes and not the person who brought them the product. So
Right.
we still hope that continues to remain the case.
Well, yeah, I think, I mean, there's that, you're right. It's you provide such a great experience in your stores, and I'm assuming this is still the case, or maybe it's different with different ones. I mean, anytime I've ever called the one that we go to, they answer the phone. It's not going to some menu or whatever, and they're nice. Like, hey, I've got this question, or can we do this? Or I mean, it's a different experience than you would. I guess my point is, I didn't know early on when we started ordering from Nothing But Cakes. I thought it was like a local brand. Like, it seemed like an experience you would get from somebody that's like put their heart and soul into that business because it's their business and it's their brand and it's their cake. And then I was like, oh, wait a minute, there's like a lot of these things. Like, it's a unique experience for a brand that has the scope and scale that y'all do. You're still a medium-sized brand, yes, but it's a cool experience. And that's why I asked that question, because I like to go in there. Like, if my wife's like, hey, can you go pick up like, we probably could get them to. I just like going in. It's fun. It's nice. They're nice people. Like, it's a cool place to be. But I think you are really I think you nailed it with that. Like, the product and the experience. Like you said, I think bowl people over, or something like that. It is an impressive experience that you're not used to getting nowadays, particularly in sort of a franchise sort of QSR segment. It's rare that you get that, but y'all, from my experience at least, it's been outstanding.
True. I mean, we definitely want our cake to look perfect when they first open the box, and we want that taste the first time they put it in their mouth. It should be extremely moist, and it should be the taste that they wanted to experience, whether it is a red velvet cake or whether it's a white chocolate raspberry. It should feel like they are tasting exactly what they were expecting.
With a smile.
With a Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I just like the simplicity of what you talked about. Is just, we got to nail the product every time, and we have to provide just a great experience, because it's that's so simple, but that's not easy to execute, and it's getting harder and harder, particularly the second part of the people part of that these days. And I feel like if you can just gosh, if a customer comes in and you're looking them in the eyes and you're smiling and you're thanking them and you're genuinely saying, "What can I do?" or "How can I help you?" or, and you're just engaged and present, it's like monumentally better than what you get, not just in hospitality and retail and everything else these days. It's just hard to find that in a lot of places. So, unfortunately, the bar is so low that if you can get the human interaction piece right, it's such a big differentiator. And then fortunately, the bar is so low so that if you understand that and you do it, you're just going to blow people away because barely anybody's able to do that these days and pull that off. I mean, we stop on the road sometimes. My daughter goes to Penn State, 9.5 hour drive. I don't like to stop a lot when I'm driving places, but you better believe you got to stop if you're driving 9.5 hours. And it's amazing, like some of these well-known, I won't mention any, but brands where you might stop and, get some lunch or some dinner or whatever. And it's like, I mean, the people piece is just falling apart a lot of times. It's terrible. You may as well just have robots doing it. And so if you can get the people piece right, it gives you a huge, huge advantage. And people are just going to keep coming back over and over and over because it's so differentiated.
And you're right on that. We call that our guest service. So we don't call our front of the house staff cashiers. We call them guest service. And we have goals. Within 5 seconds of someone opening our door, we have to welcome them in. We ask all our staff to come from behind the counter, meet with the guests and ask them the question, what brings you in here today? So we can start a conversation with them. Are they looking for something just quick dessert to pick up, or is it a grandmother's 80th birthday and they are looking for something special? So we can have that conversation. We ask our guests to sign up to our e-club so that they can keep getting updates, because we are now providing newer opportunities of gluten-free, so people can see when that's coming. And then we always thank them for walking into our bakery and walk over and open the door for them before they leave. So these things, people remember that and they record that this is the kind of service that was provided. I know not only in restaurants, but how many times you walked into a store and you cannot find anyone to help you if you, God forbid, you had a question, you know?
Yep.
And it is getting hard out there. And it's I would also say it is challenging. Will, don't get me wrong. It still is hard when we have staff that calls out at the very last minute and does not show up. It
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
impacts us. Our managers have to stop doing what they are doing and step into positions all the time, because this happens in our industry. So it is really tough for people out there.
Yeah, it's a big challenge. It's uh, that seems to be the case from um, Texas to California to New York, wherever. All the customers I talk to these days, that's the other side of that, having balance and everything, is just you also have to have accountability and be responsible for, you know, recognizing that if you're going to call out last minute, that hurts the business, and it hurts your team, and it's not just you because you decided whatever. It has a big trickle down effect, but a lot of people, they're not thinking that way. Well, what else, Benya? Is there anything we haven't talked about that we should talk about? So you're going to continue to grow there. You clearly love what you do. I can see it on your face and hear it on your voice. Um, I should thank you because you've been a very long time Schedule Fly customer, and you had so many nice things to say about us when we talked. So we appreciate you and your team very much.
I want to say how important schedule fly is to our business. I don't know if I have said it enough. I want to write it in an email and send it to you. It is
Okay. Yeah.
truly, it is truly a glue that allows us to connect our 4 locations. We have visibility onto all those 4 locations at the same time. It is a tool for all of our 70 plus staff. So they have employee documents that they can always look at 24 hours a day. We see employees logging in the middle of the night. You know how this generation is. They are up
Yep.
awake late at night. They can look at any documents, they can look at their schedules, they can communicate with us all the time. And it takes away the uh, phone to phone mobile contact away. A manager should not have to hear their phones beeping at night or early in the morning. We encourage all our staff to post it on schedule. So we have manager to manager communications, we have manager to staff communications, and we also record some communications where there are some tough conversations that we have with staff. But all
Mm.
in all, our goal is to provide a tool that allows us to communicate and then allows them to see what's going on, what the schedules are. And I can't even tell you enough of how much we use it for. We have so many, you have color coded post-it notes on the schedule that we use extensively. Um, and just it's on your fingertips all the time. I travel quite a bit internationally. Lately, I have had some challenges. Um, After the ransomware attack you guys had, I think you have beefed up security a bit more. Uh,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, we have to get your IP address when you travel so that we can let you in. Yeah,
yeah, I try to
absolutely.
VPN in, so that helps a little bit.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
But I can communicate with them even while I'm on the other end. They will post me messages about wanting some information. So you're not looking through emails, you're not looking through anything. You have this one dashboard with which you are communicating. So it's a great tool, and I would recommend all restaurants to think about using it in the fullest manner. So I don't know how much people use this tool, but this tool has a tremendous amount of capability, and we use most all of its capability.
Yeah, I think that we probably, um, I think there's a lot of people that don't even realize all the other, like you use the documents. I think a lot of our customers don't, they just go in, they create a schedule, they post it, maybe they do a couple other things, but posting documents or using fly notes or putting employee notes in there, or there's just, being able to send a text to all 70 employees with a click of a button, and unlimited, no extra costs and all that. There's a lot of stuff in there that we probably should do a better job of just creating awareness with our customers. 'Cause I don't think they don't understand that. Y'all use it very well. Like I can go in there, I'll look and see, and you're kind of like fully leveraging the tool. Well, yeah. Listen, we try to do what you talked about, Bindya, which is a simple product executed reliably well every day and a great experience, so that if you have a question or you need something, you're either like you're going to get an email right back, or you're going to call my cell phone and get, like we want to be like, that's our model, right? Like we want to treat our customers the way y'all treat your customers, which is reliable, executed well every day, easy to do business with, and great experience interacting with the people, so that you remember it and you say, wow, that was different than what I would expect, and that's our goal. And we appreciate you because you've been using us for a very long time. And I thank you for that. We all thank you for that.
And thank you for the reliability. I'll tell you what, I lose power. I sometimes don't have access to my email. Sometimes our internet goes away. But guess what? I have almost never experienced where I cannot log into Schedule Fly. And the second thing that you mentioned is your staff is tremendous at response. So we will once in a while we'll post something that we don't understand or something happened, including invoices. We just see a message posted about billing and we take care of it. I mean, it is it you guys do such a phenomenal job at both those things, and we truly appreciate that. And it is very affordable, Will. For the service you provide, this tool is very, very affordable.
Yeah, it's funny. We've never raised our prices since 2007. It's the exact same pricing model. We've never. That's the one thing you're not paying more for after COVID is schedule fly.
Yes, true, true.
So, well, listen, I appreciate you. We're proud to serve you. We're proud to have this opportunity to do this episode, and I will. I'll be seeing Deepan in just like a few hours, so I'll tell him hello for you, and I appreciate that connection. And maybe one day, I do know about Rourke. I'm actually I'm gonna try. My goal is to get somebody there in Atlanta to meet with me one day because we have like customers at all of the brands, all of them. Every single brand that Rourke owns, we have some number of Schedule Fly customers. So my goal is to get up there and say, look, we can serve all of them, in a very inexpensive and high level of service way. So we'll see. A guy can dream.
Sure. Well, if you put any kind of material out and you want a reference, please contact me. I would love to write a reference for you.
I'll do that. I'll probably get you to write something that I can use to. Yeah, I will. I appreciate that very much.
Thank you.
Well, I've talked to you before. It's nice to see you. I appreciate the time. Please tell your team hello. We love y'all. We're proud to serve you. And, you've got my cell, but that goes for anybody there that needs anything anytime. You call me, you text me. I'm your guy. We'll take care of you.
We appreciate it. Thank you so much.
All right, Bindya. Have a nice rest of your day.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, see ya. Hey, y'all, before you dial out, just a quick request. If you are listening to this podcast on iTunes, if you would give us a star rating and a comment, it would be so helpful. If you're on Spotify, if you'd follow us or whatever platform you're on, if there's a rating or a follow, please do that. What that does is it tells these algorithms to put this content in front of more people that are looking for this type of content. So if you enjoy the episode, please do that. Thank you so much for listening to Restaurant Owners Uncorked or watching on YouTube. We appreciate you. We're proud to be able to do this, and we're just going to keep putting out great content, y'all. So stay tuned. Thank you.